Hello and welcome to News Hour on Voice of the People TV. My name is Adefunke Jaisime, and before we begin the news, kindly visit our website at www.bop.ng for fresh and trending news stories. But first, here are the headlines. On insecurity, soldiers' families tell federal government not to sacrifice their own. APC Northwest endorses Tinubu for re-election. Akwa Ibom governor to fire officials who neglect duties. AAU officials cites reason students ignore NEL fund. Abaribe-led Southeast senators question impact on region. This is talking about the outcomes of the UTME examination. And on the foreign scene, world leaders to attend Pope Leo's inaugural mass. In business, U.S. loses last perfect credit rating amid rising debt. And in the world of sports, Crystal Palace beat Man City to lift trophy first time in 119 years. And in the world of entertainment, Oyo honors Ayinde Barrister with award at Egungun Festival. Now the news in detail. The Defense Headquarters has said that troops in conjunction with hybrid forces and other security agencies have sustained offensive operations in all theaters to provide safe corridors for farming activities. In the contained statement by the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Marcus Kanye, on Saturday in Abuja, he said this was to enable farmers to contribute their quota to food production and, by extension, the attainment of food security as directed by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He said the armed forces, under the leadership of General Christopher Musa, were not negotiating issues of national security and welfare of the troops who had remained resolute and ever determined to safeguard the nation's territorial integrity, national interest, and the project citizens from all forms of threats. Kanye said the dedicated troops had demonstrated remarkable courage and professionalism in the face of adversity, adding that the cooperation of local communities had also been invaluable in their intelligence gathering efforts. According to him, the gallant troops neutralized scores of terrorists and apprehended two wanted extremist informants and logistics suppliers identified as Zakari Abubakar and Aliyu Musa in Suleja and Bogu local government areas of Niger. Meanwhile, family members of soldiers killed during recent battles against insurgents in the northeast have mourned the death of their loved ones, urging the government to put an end to the bloodbath in the region. The relatives who spoke to newsmen on Saturday also called on the federal government to demonstrate genuine commitment to the fight against insurgency by providing adequate arms and ammunition, improving the welfare of the military personnel, and caring for the families of fallen soldiers. The family spoke after Monday's attack on a military base in Mate, Borno State, which claimed the lives of 5 soldiers. Recall that on Monday, Boko Haram insurgents invaded the forward operating base in the early hours of the day, overpowering the soldiers on duty, looting weapons, and escaping with military vehicles. Military sources told newsmen that some soldiers who witnessed the attack abandoned their posts and returned to their hometowns. However, the military said that the Nigerian troops repelled the terrorists after a fire-gun battle with a large number of terrorists neutralized, while others escaped with bullet wounds. Another report says that the All Progressives Congress in the Northwest Zone on Saturday endorsed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ahead of the 2027 presidential election. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajudi Abbas, moved the motion for the endorsement of the president, while Kebbi State Governor Nasir Idris seconded the motion, passing a vote of confidence in Tinubu for a second term in the year 2027. Thereafter, a communique on behalf of the stakeholders from the zone was read by Kaduna State Governor and APC Northwest Coordinating Governor, Senator Ubasani, to wrap up the meeting. In return, all the APC governors in the Northwest Zone were reportedly offered an automatic ticket for second term in the 2027 governorship elections. Party faithfuls had the gathering where Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin, Minister of Budget and National Planning Atiku Abubakar Bagudu, Minister of Environment, Balarabe Abbas Lawal. Also in attendance were a former Speaker and Governor of Katsina State, Bello Aminu Masari, former Senator representing Kaduna Central Senatorial District, Shehu Sani, former Governor of Zamfara State, Senator Ahmed Sani Yerima, among others. Meanwhile, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has debunked rumors that he may pick the presidential ticket to battle against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the #1 seat in the year 2027. Rumors has it that if the People's Democratic Party agrees to zone its presidential ticket to the south, Wike may join the race. However, in an interview on Saturday, the former Rivers State governor said he cannot contest against his principle. He further stated that there was no one in the opposition to challenge the president for the #1 seat in the 2027 elections. And away from that story, the Transmission Company of Nigeria has commenced the reconstruction of 3 collapsed towers along the 330 kV Kainjin-Benin-Kebbi transmission line. This was disclosed in a statement on Saturday by the General Manager Public Affairs TCN, Ndidi Mba, who said that the company had mobilized 3 contractors to the site, with each contractor assigned to rebuild one of the affected towers. According to her, the multi-contractor strategy is aimed at fast-tracking the reconstruction process and restoring full transmission capacity as quickly as possible. And in Akwa Ibom, the governor, Pastor Umo Eno, has issued a stern warning to commissioners and special advisors over indolence in the administration of the state's affairs. Governor Eno threatened to sack any cabinet member found to be exhibiting indolence and insubordination during official functions. Eno declared that any erring cabinet member, regardless of gender, would be immediately relieved of their positions. The governor also warned that the governor also gave warning, which was given in an interview on Saturday, comes in response to reports that some cabinet members have been demonstrating a nonchalant attitude towards their official duties, citing insufficient funding for their offices and adopting the local slogan, Mpo Mbaha, meaning there's nothing in government. And the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has congratulated renowned educationalist and former Nigerian ambassador to the Netherlands, Professor Mary La, on her 90th birthday. In a statement issued Saturday by his Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, the President praised Professor La for her groundbreaking contributions to education, diplomacy, and national development. Born on May 15, 1935, in Langtang, Plateau State, Professor La is widely respected for her lifelong dedication to teaching and mentoring generations of Nigerian students. She began her career in government secondary schools before moving into academia, eventually becoming the first female professor from northern Nigeria, an achievement that paved the way for many others. Tinubu also commended her service as Nigeria's ambassador to the Netherlands and her support during the tenure of her late husband, the first civilian governor of Plateau State, Solomon La. The president applauded Professor La's lasting impact on Nigeria's educational and diplomatic sectors and described her as a pace-setter and dedicated nation builder. In Benue State, the police command has confirmed the death of a final year student, Kwarara Fun University in Walkari, Taraba State, identified as Ehne Emanuela, killed by a stray bullet from a policeman. The command has also ordered the detained investigation into the deaths. Friends and families of the deceased had on Friday accused the policeman of allegedly shooting to death the final year student. Police personnel from the Benue State Command were said to be on a routine stop and search operation when one of the officers suddenly opened fire on a commercial vehicle conveying passengers, including the victim, resulting in her death. Igbo Lobo, a friend of the late Emanuela, had told journalists earlier in Makurdi that Emanuela was returning to school in Wukari in Taraba State before the incident occurred. And away from that report, the principal assistant registrar and head of information and public relations at the Ambrose Ali University AAU ECOMA, Otumba Mike Aladeniko, has identified low awareness, complex application procedures, and fear of debt as key reasons Nigerian students are not embracing the Nigerian Education Loan Funds, now Funds Student Loan Scheme. Aladeniko, in a phone conversation on Friday, expressed concerns that despite the student loan initiative being a major focus of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led federal government, it is still receiving poor patronage among students in tertiary institutions nationwide. He emphasized that the application process may be too cumbersome or demanding, requiring documentation that many students find difficult to obtain, thereby discouraging potential applicants from moving forward with the process. The NENFund Student Loan Scheme was introduced to support indigent students in accessing higher education, but many remain unaware of its benefits, especially those in rural and disadvantaged areas where access to information is limited. Aladeniko also pointed out that fear of debt plays a major role as students worry about their inability to repay the loan after graduation, further contributing to the apathy surrounding what should be a game-changing educational support program. In another development, the Southeast Senate Caucus has voiced concerns over a curious and highly suspicious JAMB examination glitch that affected centers in Lagos State and significantly the entire Southeast during the recent Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME). In a statement issued on Saturday in Abuja by its chairman, Senator Enyinaya Abaribe, representing Abia South, the caucus said it would be disheartening and hoped not to contemplate such a conspiracy theory that there is a narrow agenda being pursued to deliberately shortchange and harm the future of our children. Though the caucus, after a careful assessment of the report of the ugly incident, noted with cautious optimism the efforts being made to mitigate the near disaster, particularly the rescheduling of the examination, it warned that a future reoccurrence will not be acceptable. Nonetheless, the Southeast senators had added welcomed the timely acceptance of fault as expressed through the open declaration of regrets and tearful apology by the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board management, particularly its registrar, Professor Ishaq Oloyede. You're still watching News on Voice of the People TV. More stories after this break. Please stay with us.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more.
Join me on Sundays every 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Voice of the People TV.
Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
Welcome back to News Hour on VOP TV. The House of Representatives Committee on Industry will, on Thursday, May 22, 2025, convene a one-day public hearing on a proposed amendment to the National Sugar Development Council (NSDC) Act, Chapter number 78 of the Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. The proposed legislation seeks to redefine the functions and powers of the council and mandate that all monies received by the council be paid into the Federation account in line with Section 162 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. And according to a statement issued on Saturday by House spokesman Akin Rotimi, the Speaker Tajuddin Abbas is the chief host of the event. Speaking ahead of the hearing, the chairman of the House Committee on Industry, Eniton Badru, stated that this public hearing underscores the House of Representatives' dedication to ensuring that sectoral reforms are guided by accountability, stakeholders' input, and adherence to constitutional principles. And in Osun State, the governor Ademola Adeleke on Saturday directed a review of a road project in Aduramigba community, Ido-Osun, after a protest by the residents who alleged that a shady job was done by the contractor. Residents of Aduramigba community had earlier held a peaceful protest over the quality of work done on a 4.76-kilometer road in the area. During the protests, the placards carrying protesters led the community chairman, Sunday Ogundele, said the road was constructed without a proper drainage system, insisting that a poor job was done by the contractor. And reacting in a statement, spokesperson to the governor, Olawale Rashid, said among other things that a team of senior government officials is currently interfacing with the contractor and the project managers to collate reports and determine an immediate remediation action. He said the government team is to report back to the governor by Monday, after which further corrective decisions will be taken. Coming up next, foreign, business, and sports stories after the break. Stay with us.
Extraordinary. Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. VOP this morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
Foreign scene. World leaders from various countries are set to attend Pope Leo's inaugural Mass on Sunday, with the Vatican's list including presidents, prime ministers, and royalty from across the globe. The event marks the start of the Pope's term. During the ceremony, the new pontiff is given the pallium and the fisherman's ring as symbols of his new authority. Around 250,000 people are expected to pack into St. Peter's Square in Vatican City on Sunday to watch the inauguration of Pope Leo VI. Attendees span the globe from President Bajram Bega of Albania to the European Union's Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, underscoring the event's international resonance. Notable political figures such as U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu emphasized the high level of diplomatic engagement expected at this inaugural event. A new round of negotiations for a Gaza ceasefire and hostage deal between Hamas and Israel has begun in Qatar after the Israeli military launched a new expanded offensive in the Gaza Strip. according to both Israeli and Hamas officials. Hamas confirmed the new round of talks was underway with its official, Tahel Hanono, revealing that both sides were discussing all issues without preconditions. However, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz argued in a statement that the launch of Operation Gideon's Chariots in Gaza, which was led with great force by IDF command, compelled the Hamas delegation in Doha to announce a return in negotiations on a hostage deal. He added that this was contrary to the stance the group had taken up until that moment. And according to him, the heroism of IDF soldiers, the unity of the people, and the determination of the political leadership increased the chances of bringing back the hostages. Israeli and Hamas delegations traveled to Qatar earlier in the week after the terror group released American Israel hostage soldier Edan Alexander as part of an agreement with Washington that did not involve Israel, and ahead of U.S. President Donald Trump's visit to the region. In a similar development, President Volodymyr Zelensky said a Russian drone strike on a bus killed 9 people and injured 7 others in Ukraine. Zelensky wrote on X that all the deceased were civilians, adding that the Russians could not have failed to understand what kind of vehicle they were targeting. He further noted that the injured were receiving medical treatment for burns, fractures, and blast injuries. He condemned Russia from continuing attacks on civilians, reiterating that Ukraine has long offered a full and unconditional ceasefire. According to him, on Friday, as on any other day of this war, there was an opportunity to cease fire. And referring to the previous day's peace talks in Istanbul, Zelensky criticized the Russian delegation as weak and unprepared and claimed it lacked any real mandate for negotiations. Calling for increased international pressure, he stated that Ukraine was expecting strong sanctions against Russia from the United States, Europe, and all partners. He further insisted that diplomacy must start working, adding that peace is essential. The remarks came a day after Turkey hosted the Russian and Ukrainian delegations for renewed talks on ending the war, with Kyiv represented by Defense Minister Rustem Umerov and Moscow's team led by presidential aide Vladimir Beditsky. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has announced that he will speak with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday on ending the Ukraine war. Trump wrote on Truth Social that the subject of the call will be stopping the bloodbath that is killing on average over 5,000 Russian and Ukrainian soldiers a week and trade. The announcement came after representatives from Ukraine and Russia held face-to-face talks in Turkey on Friday, the first time that the two countries held direct talks at any level in 3 years. Trump had previously said he did not think there would be a significant breakthrough on peace talks until he and Putin speak directly. However, he said plans to speak with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky and various members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organizations after talking with Putin. In his post, Trump emphasized hopes that it would be a productive day and a ceasefire would take place, and this very violent war that should have never happened will end. And in Syria, the Interior Ministry said that security forces raided Islamic State hideouts in Aleppo, killing at least 1 militant and arresting others. It was the first time such an operation has been announced under the country's new Islamist rulers, interim President Ahmed al-Sharaa, who once led a branch of Al-Qaeda, has long been an adversary of Islamic State and battled the group's self-declared caliphate during the Syrian war. A member of the security forces was also killed, according to the statement by Interior Ministry spokesperson, while the security forces seized weapons, bombs, and uniforms with the security forces insignia. A security source said the raids had targeted sleeper cells in 4 locations, adding that an Islamic State militant had blown himself up and another had been killed in clashes. U.S. President Donald Trump met Sahar Lassaral earlier this week and praised him as an attractive guy with a very strong past after the encounter in Saudi Arabia on Wednesday. China and the European Union have suspended imports of chicken meat from Brazil, the world's biggest exporter of the commodity, after an outbreak of bird flu on a farm in the South American country. An outbreak of a new strain of highly pathogenic avian influenza, HPAI, has been confirmed on a farm in Montenegro in the southern state of Rio Grande do Sul, the ministry said. China is the main importer of Brazilian chicken, with 562,000 tons in 2024, which is over 10% of the total, according to Brazil's ABPA Meat Association. The EU, for its part, imported over 231,000 tons of chicken last year, totaling 4.5% of Brazil's export of the meat. In a statement, Brazil's Agriculture Ministry noted that to respect the agreement with China and the European Union, exports are restricted from Brazil as a whole and, in China's case, for 60 days. While China and the EU suspended imports from Brazil as a whole, other countries may place restrictions on the affected region only. The ministry also said that the virus could not be transmitted to humans by the consumption of poultry meat or eggs. Guyana's parliament has passed a bill on oil pollution, making parties responsible for damage caused by oil spill from vessels as well as other sources. The law stipulates that the responsible parties will provide financial assurance for spills, conduct audits and regular inspection, and also resolve any issues they find. It also includes sanctions for companies who fail to comply with the regulations. This includes suspension of licenses for oil exploration and production for those who do not provide financial assurance. President Irfan Ali is expected to sign the bill into law. The bill passed with a large majority of votes in a simple vote by voice. Guyana's oil production, controlled by ExxonMobil, is expected to exceed 900,000 barrels per day. The South American nation is seeking to strengthen oversight of its fledgling energy industry. All crude and natural gas are produced from offshore fields. Still in the news, the World Bank's Board of Directors has approved a $350 million grant to support large hydropower storage projects in Malawi that will significantly increase the Southern African country's generation capacity. According to the bank, the Pathamanga hydropower storage project would help supply electricity to over 1 million new households and create thousands of jobs. The public-private partnership, with the expected overall cost of over $1.5 billion, will represent the largest foreign direct investment in Malawi's history. In September 2022, the Malawian government selected a consortium consisting of Electricité de France and SN Malawi BV, owned by British International Investments, Norfund, and Total Energies, to lead the project's development and implementations. The project will have a total generation capacity of 358 megawatts, doubling Malawi's installed hydropower capacity by building 2 dams along the Share River between 2 existing hydropower facilities, according to its website. And in business, the Nigerian Delta Power Holding Company, NDPHC, National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, and High Tech Technologies, NDPHC's development partners, are collaborating on a 20-megawatt embedded solar generation facility. This facility is aimed at supporting vulnerable businesses in the Chalawa area of Kano State. NDPHC Managing Director Engineer Jennifer Adigeje led a high-level management team on a site survey and assessment of the Chalawa Industrial District in Kano. Accompanying her were the Executive Director of Generation, Engineer Kasim Abdullahi, and the Executive Director of Corporate Services, Engineer Omorige Obeide Ihama. NDPHC Head, Corporate Communications and External Relations, Emmanuel Ojo, disclosed this in a statement. And according to the statement, the team's first stop was at the Kano Electricity Distribution Company, KEDCO, where they were received by the Managing Director, CEO Abu Jimitia. It added that during strategic discussions, both CEOs reaffirmed commitment to collaborations in developing viable models to enhance electricity access in Kano and its environs. Again, the U.S. has lost its last perfect credit rating as influential ratings firms Moody's expressed concern over the government's inability to pay back its debt. In lowering the U.S. rating from AAA to AA1, Moody's noted that successive U.S. administrations had failed to reverse ballooning deficits and interest costs. Moody's said in the statement that the downgrade reflects the increase over more than a decade in government debt and increased payment ratios to levels that are significantly higher than similarly rated sovereign. A AAA rating signifies a country's highest possible credit reliability and indicates it is considered to be very good financial health with a strong capacity to repay its debt. Moody's warned in 2023 that the U.S. AAA rating was at risk. Fitch Rating downgraded the U.S. in 2023 and S&P Global Rating did so in 2011. Moody's held a perfect credit rating for the U.S. since the year 1917. And talking about sports, Crystal Palace won a trophy for the first time in their 119-year history after beating heavy favourites Manchester City 1-0 in Saturday's FA Cup final. Eberechi Eze's first-half strike was all that separated the two sides as Oliver Glasner's men became immortals among the South London faithfuls who will remember the date of May 17, 2025 forever. Despite having little to no possession in the opening exchanges, Palace took the lead just after a quarter of an hour. A composed goal kick routine eventually saw Gianfilippo Mateta hold the ball up for Diachi Kamada, whose switch of play found Daniel Munoz galloping freely down the right and his cutback picked out Eze to sweep home. The newly crowned Bundesliga champions Bayern Munich finished the season with a 4-0 away win over Hoffenheim as Thomas Muller made his final appearance for the club. The 35-year-old player who had won 13 titles and 2 Champions League in Bavaria will leave the club he has spent his entire senior career with when his contract expires this summer. Muller made his 503rd appearance to go 12th in the league's all-time appearance list, though he could not add to his 248 club goals before being replaced by Harry Kane after an hour. Michael Olise opened the scoring in the 33rd minute with a curling free kick over the wall that sneaked inside the post. And in the world of entertainment, Oyo State government has announced late Fuji icon Sikiru Ayinde Barrister with a posthumous merit award. Wasiu Olatunbosun, Oyo Commissioner for Culture and Tourism, presented the award at the 2025 Egungun Festival held at the Liberty Stadium. Olatunbosun described the late musician as the pioneer of Fuji music and a cultural ambassador who projected the genre to the world. In a statement, Laide Olawumi, chairman of the Sikiru Ayinde Barrister Musical Festival Forum, and its secretary Ademola Adesingbe hailed Seyi Makinde, Oyo State governor, for recognizing the late icon's legacy. They disclosed that Ayinde's influence had empowered generations of Fuji musicians, percussionists, instrumentalists, and other professionals. The group also expressed concern over attempts by some Fuji musicians to distort Ayinde's legacy. Ayinde passed away on December 16, 2010 in the United Kingdom after battling an undisclosed ailment. Still on entertainment, the Nighttime Industries Association, NTIA, has warned that cancelling a series of music festivals will be a devastating blow that leaves tens of thousands of people in limbo. A series of events, including the Mighty Hofla, Cross the Tracks, and Wide Awake, are due to be held at Brookwell Park in South London from May 23 until June 8. But on Friday, resident Rebecca Shawam won a High Court challenge over the use of the site this summer after arguing that the council did not have the correct planning permission for the event. A Lambert Council spokesperson said they were assessing the impact of the judgment and determining the next steps, while Michael Q, chief executive of the NTIA, warned that cancelling the series of festivals would directly impact thousands of people, many of whom rely on the summer season to sustain their livelihood. And that's it on the news hour. Before we go, a quick look at the headlines. Soldiers' families tell federal government not to sacrifice their own. On 2027, APC Northwest endorses Tinubu for re-election. Akwa Ibom government to fire officials who neglect duties, as AAU officials cite reasons students ignore NEL fund. On erroneous UTME outcomes, Abaribe-led Southeast senators question impact on region. And on the foreign scene, world leaders to attend Pope Leo's inaugural mass. In business, U.S. loses last perfect credit rating amid rising debt. And in the world of sports, Crystal Palace beats Man City to lift trophy first time in 119 years. In entertainment, posthumous recognition or your honors Ayinde Barrister with award at Egungun Festival. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we have VOP TV Live. I am Adefunke Jayesimi. Thanks for joining us.
Everybody keep watching Voice of the People. All right? Love you all.
Hello, sweetie. What's going on? My name is Kiki. Keep watching VOP TV. Thanks.
Hey guys, what's going on? Olumide Oru, the Fresh Prince of Lagos here, and this is VOP TV, guys.
Hello guys, I want you to please keep on watching VOP TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hafiz Oyetoro. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Shout out to VOP TV.
Very big shout out to the fans and lovers of VOP TV. My name is Tayo Faduro. I'm an actor that you are going to live to love. Keep watching. Cheers.
Hi everyone, so shout out to VOP TV.
Step